In 1937, when he died, his fortune equaled nearly 1.5% of the entire US economy. If that same percentage existed today, he would be richer than Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates combined. His name was John Davison Rockefeller, and at his peak, he controlled 90% of the oil refined in the entire country. But he wasn't born rich. He was born on a farm, the son of a traveling con man who lied for a living. And yet, he became the first billionaire in human history. How did a young man with no fortune, no name, and no college education come to completely dominate one of the most powerful industries on the planet? Because Rockefeller's story isn't just the story of oil. It's the story of how one man learned to control every link of an economic chain until he became practically untouchable. And it's also the story of how that same power eventually became too big, even for the United States. Join me to discover how an obsessive bookkeeper became the richest man the world had ever known. John D. Rockefeller was born in 1839 on a small farm in upstate New York. His father, William Rockefeller, was a contradictory figure. He sold fake medicine from town to town, lied about his identity, and disappeared for months at a time. His mother, by contrast, was deeply religious, disciplined, and austere. From her, John inherited something that would define his entire life: absolute control over every cent that passed through his hands. As a child, he kept a small ledger recording every bit of income and every expense, no matter how small. That seemingly insignificant habit would become the seed of an empire. At 16, Rockefeller landed his first job as a bookkeeping assistant in Cleveland, Ohio. He earned very little, but worked with almost obsessive precision. He never made mistakes. He was never late. While other young men his age dreamed of adventure, he dreamed of perfect balance sheets. In 1859, at just 20 years old, he saved enough to become a partner in a small produce business. It was a modest success, but enough for him to notice something that would change his destiny. In western Pennsylvania, people had started pulling a thick, black liquid out of the ground: oil. The oil rush of the 1860s resembled a gold rush. Thousands of men raced to drill wells, hoping to get rich overnight. But Rockefeller saw something almost no one else did. Extracting oil was a chaotic, unpredictable business, ruled by luck. Refining it, on the other hand, was a business of process, efficiency, and numbers. And that was exactly the ground where he excelled. In 1863, he invested in his first refinery in Cleveland. He wouldn't compete to find oil. He would compete to control what happened to it after others found it. Rockefeller understood something that would define the rest of his career. In a business with dozens of refineries competing against each other, the one who survived would be the most efficient, not the biggest. So he began eliminating every unnecessary expense. He recycled byproducts others threw away. He negotiated special rates with railroad companies in exchange for guaranteeing large, steady volumes of freight. While his competitors fought to survive month to month, Rockefeller built a system. In 1870, he founded the Standard Oil Company. And from there, something began that his rivals would take years to fully understand. Instead of simply competing with other refineries, Rockefeller started buying them. He offered his competitors two options: sell their business at a fair price and join Standard Oil, or face a price war that Rockefeller, with his lower costs, would always win. Many accepted. Those who refused almost always went bankrupt within months. In time, this process became known as the Silent Conquest of Cleveland. In under 2 years, Standard Oil had absorbed 22 of its 26 competitors in the city. By 1880, Standard Oil controlled roughly 90% of all refined oil in the United States. Rockefeller didn't just dominate refineries. He controlled pipelines, barrels, tank cars, even the companies that manufactured the wooden barrels. He had built something unprecedented in American business history, an almost total vertical monopoly. The price of kerosene, the era's star product used to light homes across America, dropped sharply thanks to Standard Oil's efficiency. For millions of families, that meant cheaper light. But for the rest of the country, it started to mean something more unsettling. One man controlling a basic necessity of modern life. With that power came the accusations. Journalists began investigating Standard Oil's methods, secret railroad rebates, pressure on suppliers, tactics many considered outright illegal. Journalist Ida Tarbell, whose own father had been ruined by Rockefeller's expansion, published a devastating investigation that became one of the most influential pieces of journalism in American history. Overnight, the richest man in the country also became one of the most hated. They called him the Octopus, for the way his reach seemed to touch everything. Public pressure turned into legal pressure. In 1890, Congress passed the Sherman Antitrust Act, designed specifically to fight structures like Standard Oil's. For nearly 2 decades, the government built a case against the company, and in 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court made a historic ruling. Standard Oil had to be broken up into 34 independent companies. It was one of the most important antitrust decisions in American history. Many expected it would ruin Rockefeller. The exact opposite happened. Rockefeller held stock in every single one of those 34 new companies. When they began trading independently on the stock market, their combined value ended up far greater than the original Standard Oil. Within a few years, Rockefeller didn't get poorer. He got even richer. By 1916, he had officially become the first billionaire in human history, with a fortune that in today's terms would exceed $400 billion. The man the government tried to dismantle ended up more powerful than before. But in his final years, Rockefeller did something that surprised even his harshest critics. He began giving away his fortune on a scale the world had never seen. He funded the founding of the University of Chicago. He created the Rockefeller Foundation, which would help eradicate diseases like yellow fever and hookworm across several continents. He donated hundreds of millions of dollars to education, public health, and scientific research. The man once called the Octopus and a ruthless barbarian became, in the last decades of his life, the greatest philanthropist America had ever known. John D. Rockefeller died in 1937 at 97, leaving behind a legacy impossible to sum up in a single word. To some, he was the perfect symbol of the American dream, from a poor farm to absolute power. To others, he was proof that the same dream, left unchecked, can become something dangerous. His name still appears today on universities, hospitals, and foundations around the world. And his story still raises the same question that divided America over a century ago. How far should the power of one man be allowed to go? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to follow. Do you think Rockefeller was a visionary genius or a ruthless monopolist? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next episode.